On Oak Street, everyone knew the "Beware of Dog" sign on House 402 wasn't a joke. Behind that rusted chain-link fence lived Bruno, 100-pound mix with a bark that could rattle the windows of every house on the block. Neighbors crossed the street just to avoid passing his gate. Delivery drivers dropped packages at the curb and ran back to their vans. To the world, Bruno was a menace. A problem to be solved. But every day at exactly 2:15 p.m., something happened that no one expected. And it all started with a man named Jim, and a single ginger snap. Jim has been on this mail route for 22 years. He's the kind of man who remembers when your kids graduated high school and who knows exactly which house is waiting on a social security check. He's seen this neighborhood change, grow old, and renew itself. Then there's Bruno. You see, most people only saw the teeth and the lunging. But Jim saw something else. He knew the history of House 402. He remembered the elderly man who lived there before. A man who walked Bruno every morning until the day he simply couldn't get out of bed anymore. When the old man passed, Bruno stayed. He wasn't guarding a house. He was waiting for a friend who was never coming back. Last summer, things reached a breaking point. The neighborhood Facebook group was buzzing. "That dog is dangerous," they said. "Something needs to be done." There were formal complaints. In our modern, fast-paced world, it's often easier to label something as bad or broken than it is to ask why it's hurting. Jim heard the talk. He knew that if things didn't change, Bruno's story would end in a cold shelter or worse. Jim had been bitten a few times in his 20-year career. He knew the difference between a mean dog and a lonely one. Bruno wasn't mean. He was just forgotten. So, Jim started a ritual. He didn't rush the gate. He didn't shout. He would pull his mail truck over, sit on the curb just outside the fence, and eat his lunch. He didn't even look at Bruno. He just spoke. "Hey there, big guy. Busy morning?" "Me too. My knees are giving me trouble today." It took 6 months. 6 months of Jim sitting on that sidewalk for 5 minutes a day. No treats at first, just a human voice treating a beast like a friend. Slowly, the barking turned into a low whimper. Then, the whimper turned into a curious sniff. Eventually, the ginger snaps came. And then, for the first time in years, Bruno's tail wagged. Kindness is a quiet thing, but it's contagious. When the neighbors saw the scariest dog in town leaning his massive head into the postman's hand through the fence, the fear began to melt. People started stopping. They started bringing treats of their own. Today, the "Beware of Dog" sign is still there, mostly as a relic of the past. But if you look closely, someone has tucked a fresh flower into the wire mesh. Jim didn't just save a dog from a shelter that day. He saved a neighborhood from its own judgment. He reminded us that sometimes, the loudest bark is just a cry for a little bit of company. Next time you pass a tough exterior, whether it's a dog behind a fence or a neighbor who keeps to themselves, remember Jim. A little patience, and maybe a ginger snap, can turn a guard dog into a best friend. Thanks for joining us today. Before you go, do you have a pet that was misunderstood by others? We'd love to hear your story in the comments. We read every single one. Until next time.